From an abandoned Japanese island that is hiding a dark and very troubled history behind its crumbling walls to a towering abandoned skyscraper in Venezuela that was once inhabited by around 5,000 squatters. In this video, we'll take a look at the biggest abandoned mega projects in the world. So let's dive into the video. Wonderland Amusement Park. It is located just a mere 20-minute drive away from the Chinese capital of Beijing Wonderland. Amusement Park was supposed to be the largest amusement park in Asia. Plans for it were drafted in the early 90s. The park would cover a total area of 50 hectares on an undeveloped cornfield. By comparison, it would have been about the same size as the famous Tokyo Disneyland. In Japan, Chinese property developer Rainwood Group hoped for Wonderland to become the company's flagship project and for the property to draw millions of visitors from the nearby megacity. Construction on Wonderland Amusement Park began in the 90s. The plan for the site was to create a Disneyland-style theme park with the iconic castle centerpiece and medieval-themed buildings and walls surrounding it. Unfortunately, in 1998, halfway through Wonderland's construction, all work on the site was suddenly stopped and the park was left abandoned. Some stories suggested that the park's location was cursed, while according to some rumors, a mass grave was unearthed during the construction. But despite all these rumors and hearsay, the truth was far more plain and simple. After financial disagreements with the local government and farmers who had been working on the area before the construction began, the entire project was put to a complete stop. The Memphis Pyramid. Since the city of Memphis in Tennessee is named after the historic city of Memphis in Egypt, Mark Hartz came up with an ambitious project for his hometown, meant to mimic its ancient namesake. His original plan was to create 3 pyramids that would all be situated along the Mississippi River, mirroring the famous Giza Pyramid complex. These 3 structures would be built at a scale 2/3 of the original size and resemble the exact same positions of its Egyptian counterparts. The project was conceived in hopes of creating a name for the city of Memphis by creating a landmark that would represent the city to the rest of the world, similar in vein to St. Louis Gateway Arch or Paris Eiffel Tower. After his concept was adapted by Tennessee entrepreneur John Tigert, construction on what would ultimately become the Memphis Pyramid began in September 1989. But even before the building finished construction and opened its doors 2 years later, the Memphis Pyramid already had many different problems. So today, the Memphis Pyramid is home to the largest Bass Pro Shop in the entire world, along with an archery and shooting range, and even a laser arcade. Ever since the big change, the pyramid's new tenant has found huge success in the location, with 3 million people visiting in its first year. Hashima Island. Hashima Island, 15 kilometers southwest of the city of Nagasaki in Japan, lies a small island, just a measly 500 meters across at its longest point. Hashima Island, seemingly stuck in time, is home to dozens of concrete buildings, sea walls, and ruins built at the turn of the 20th century, almost perfectly preserved by its isolation. Hashima Island is a symbol of Japan's rapid industrialization and its dark history hidden behind the walls of this abandoned site. Hashima was first inhabited back in 1887, when a substantial amount of undersea coal was discovered in the area. Mitsubishi then bought the island and started construction of a coal mining facility, along with sea walls that surrounded the entire island and protected it from typhoons. They built a 7-floor apartment building, a school, a hospital, a community center, and even entertainment facilities such as a cinema, a swimming pool, and many different shops. In 1959, the island reached its peak, population of 5,300 people living in this tiny plot of land. By 2002, Mitsubishi relinquished ownership of the island and transferred it to the town of Tama, and then eventually to the city of Nagasaki. Hashima Island soon became the subject of curious explorers looking to uncover the history of the island and its abandoned buildings. So in 2005, access to the island was reopened by the city of Nagasaki for journalists. Just a few years later, the island also became accessible to the general public and now serves as a popular tourist destination. A very rough estimate of 130 up to 1,300 forced laborers reportedly lost their lives on the island. Berlin Tempelhof Airport. As one of the first airports in the German capital, Berlin-Tempelhof Airport is a site that has witnessed and lived through many of the country's most historic moments, officially designated as an airport. In 1923, Berlin-Tempelhof Airport served as the main and only air traffic hub in the area. During the late 1930s Berlin, Tempelhof Airport quickly became one of the busiest airports in the world, thanks to its close proximity to the German capital. Following the fall of the Berlin Wall and the reunification of Germany in 1989, Berlin Tempelhof Airport soon became one of 3 different airports, all serving one city that used to be divided. Over the next few years, Berlin Tempelhof Airport continued to function as a regular commercial airport until in 1996. A resolution from the city government of Berlin was announced that would ultimately lead to the airport's closing. Tempelhof Airport and the neighboring Tempelhof Airport were planned to be closed down and replaced by the new Berlin-Brandenburg Airport. Many Berliners refused the decision, and a referendum was even held to keep the airport open. The referendum ultimately failed, and the last commercial flight from Berlin, Tempelhof Airport took off on the 30th of October, 2008. After that, the city of Berlin announced that they would transform the old airport into a city park with a budget of 60 million euro. In an event attended by thousands of people, the so-called Tempelvet opened and is now the world's largest inner-city open space with a total area of 380 hectares, even surpassing the famous Central Park in New York City. So this was our today's video. I hope you all like it. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel. We will be back soon with a new video. Till then, keep supporting and take care.